Hello, I'm David Scranton, and thanks for clicking this video. Let's face it, financial scams are a bigger problem than they've ever been before, and unfortunately, older folks tend to be the most common victims. So today, we're talking about ways to help those at or near retirement to avoid these scams. And to help me out with this also important topic, I want to bring in today's special guest, and that's Brad Williams, founder and president of Brad Williams Financial Services, a retirement income store in Huntsville, Alabama. Brad brings to us more than 30 years of experience helping people plan and save for retirement. Brad, great to see you as usual.
Great to be on the show, Dave.
So you must have some war stories of folks that you know, maybe even clients or people that have gotten caught up in some type of scam in the past, be it investment or other. Talk to us about these things. What's happened and how can people help protect themselves?
Well, I recently had a client was approached by phone about Medicare and benefits, and they asked for her personal information. She was smart enough not to give it to them until she could check them out, but they were basically offered her extra services, and they just needed her basic information. And so that could have been one. With COVID going on, there are home test kit scams. There's getting at the head of the line scams, and always they're asking for your Social Security number or something like that, something they can use.
Yeah, it's not my imagination, but it does seem like the number of scams, as I mentioned a moment ago in my monologue, there's actually a number of scams that seem to be, it just seems like the number is going up dramatically since this whole COVID-19 situation. And, I know what I think as to why, but what are your thoughts? Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. People are at home. People are at home a lot more. And so I think they're more vulnerable. I know a lot of people don't have landlines, but still they're not at work. They're not doing things they normally would do to stay busy. So these scammers recognize that, and they're taking advantage of the situation.
So it sounds like part of the secret is education, right? Being educated as to what to look out for, being aware. That's part of what helps you protect yourself from these types of scams, correct?
Yes, it is. And a big one is the fact that you're getting, you'll get phishing that looks like a bona fide inquiry from your bank or your credit card company. And if you'll click up at the top and see who it's from, you'll see it has nothing to do with your institution. But, you just have to know in advance to be careful. And your bank is not going to ask for information up front. They're going to ask you to contact them. And another thing is Social Security. You've got scammers where they're calling and saying there's a problem with your Social Security and that they need your Social Security number to fix it. IRS is the same way.
Yeah. No, I've actually gotten IRS scam calls repeatedly myself, which I've just ignored. And they threaten that you'll be arrested or something like that. And of course, the IRS will never do it that way. They will ultimately threaten you, but it's through the court system. That's another story.
Yeah, they get through the mail. And what I tell people is get on the internet, look at the phone number that's calling you, and you'll see pretty clearly it's a scam.
Yeah, good advice. So I know you're a big fan of education in general, not just educating people about how to watch out for scams. So, talk to us about why it's so important for people to be informed when it comes to this message we always talk about, one of our favorite messages, which is the benefits of investing for income.
Well, the big thing is that you're getting the income and that it's consistent, because growth is not always consistent. Here we have, since 2009, due to a lot of federal easy money policies, the market climbing through the sky, and that's going to end one day. And so if you're depending on that growth to generate the money you need to live, then when that growth is not there, you're going to be in trouble. But if you're doing it from income, if you're getting interest and dividends on a consistent basis, then that's a renewable resource, and we're all about renewable resources, right, Dave?
That's right. And I guess you could say it's funny in some ways that investing today when things are so artificially manipulated by the Federal Reserve and the low interest rates, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but I guess in some ways you can say that that's got components of a scam in it too, right?
It really is, because the money has no value, and that's the scary part about our federal debt, and why people need to really look closely where they invest, because the ticket's going to become due.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think Tesla is undervalued at $1,000. So I think we're pretty safe there. We don't have to worry about any downside potential. I'm just being facetious. So, in some ways, investing for income, in some ways that helps you avoid scams in and of itself, because you like we said before, if assets are overvalued, if you're investing for for growth, and assets are overvalued, well, that's in some ways arguably kind of sort of like a scam. But if you're investing for income, interest, and dividends, in some ways that alone helps protect you. Does it not?
Well, yeah, because you're really investing by contract. An individual bond has a stated interest rate. A preferred stock has a dividend, a stated dividend. So these are contractual obligations, and I like that better than just a promise and a hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And as compared to people who went through that terrible Bernie Madoff situation, most income specialists actually have clearinghouses. They have major companies, the Fidelity, Schwab's, TD Ameritrades, that actually hold those contracts. So an individual income investor can see it. And I think that's the thing a lot of people don't understand, is what happened in the Bernie Madoff situation was because he was functioning as a hedge fund, he was basically making his own statements internally. He was holding the investments as a pool, creating the statements. And I guess in order to have a relationship like that, there's got to be a decent trust factor.
I always emphasize the fact that their assets are held by a third party, and that TD Ameritrade is a name they know, and really explain what that means to them if they don't already know. And my clients like that because it gives them a greater sense of security.
Mm-hmm. Brad, final thoughts for year end. We got a couple months left. Final year end thoughts or advice for our beloved income generation.
Well, what goes up must come down. So we're already seeing a lot of political issues driving a market that is kind of jittery. And so maybe now's the time to take some of those profits off the table. Maybe now's the time to start looking at moving from the G to the I. And the only way to do that is to talk to someone who knows how to do it.
Yeah, especially if you're retired or within 10 years of retirement. What goes up must come down. Sir Isaac Newton, it's a great pleasure having you on the show today. Brad Williams, thanks for joining us. It's our pleasure as usual. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be here, Dave. Thanks.
And make sure that you subscribe to our channel for more advice from financial advisors from around the country. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button if you liked this video.